So today I have Professor Leonardo Vanneschi. He's a leading researcher in genetic programming and one of the top people in the field. He's a professor at NOVA IMS, and he's the director of Magic
Research Center.
Research Center. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be here with you today. Thank you very much also for the coffee. And let's hope that the conversation will be interesting for a lot of people out there.
So, Professor, you started in AI way before everyone was doing the hype, right?
Yes.
Why?
Absolutely. Excellent question. So it is absolutely true what you say. In more or less 1998, 1999, I began my PhD, and I was fond in artificial intelligence, and I have decided to invest myself in this area. And at the time, the area was absolutely not popular, and even my friends were having fun of me, saying that I was a theoretical guy who would study something that nobody would ever use. And they were the practical ones because they were using very important technologies such as Visual Basic. Is anybody using Visual Basic today?
No.
I don't even think that young people know that something like that exists, right?
Yeah.
And it was an investment. I would believe that one day we would have seen the light and AI would have become a very diffused and popular means of working for a lot of people. But my motivation was not this. My motivation was really that I liked the idea. That I liked the idea of machines to learn, and in particular, given that you have already mentioned it, I very much liked biologically inspired algorithms, and among all of them, I was really charmed by the idea of genetic programming, in which you have this population of programs evolving, mimicking the dynamics of the biological evolution of populations. And you can actually see a lot of dynamics that you can see and that are known in biological populations inside these artificial populations. And that's charming to me. I wanted to understand more. I wanted to know more about this. Then, of course, I found a great lab at the University of Lausanne, where I did the PhD, that paid me to do that. Otherwise, it would not have been possible. But it was a great experience, and I'm very happy. And today, I can say it paid off, because nowadays, people working in AI has gained popularity without... Thank you. Without changing, because I am the same.
Evolution, right? Like,
yeah,
you kind of passing knowledge down by a way of elimination, right? It's very, very interesting. Why do you think that LLMs are not using genetic programming as much?
That's an excellent question. Let me say something that will, I think, come back often during our conversation today. And it is one of my deep convictions. And it is that nowadays we are still in the prehistory of artificial intelligence.
Interesting.
A lot will change. And it may seem a negative thing, but it is not. The primitive people built tools, and it was very good. It was much better than working by hands. But their tools were heavy, were extremely costly. And this is what we have now, in my opinion. We have an AI that works, but that is extremely heavy, using an amount of computational resources which transforms into energy that is absolutely unsustainable. And a lot can still be done in terms of efficiency and interpretability, because basically we are dealing nowadays with black box AI models. Once this said, the technology that is used more today is deep neural networks, transformers. It is the basis of LLM. It is the base of generative AI. This technology was born after the end of World War II. Okay, so we are talking about the end of the 50s. Okay, and it is becoming popular now. These are times in science. Times of development in science are much, much, much slower than in industry. When something appears in industry, then there is a bomb, and the development is very, very short. But in scientific terms, in terms of research, times are much, much slower. And if we think in these terms, the first appearance of genetic programming is 1992. So it is more than 40 years later than the first publication on artificial neural networks. So we still have, in my opinion, a lot of time in genetic programming to see improvements, to see research, to see all the failed attempts and mistakes that always go with research. But in my opinion, the future is still open to a change. And the change there will be, and I'm strongly convinced that 30 years from now, people will laugh at the technology we are using today in AI.
So neural nets are like kind of like kids right now. They're like
Yes.
in the teenage years, right? Puberty, like going super fast.
Yes.
And you would say that like genetic algorithms are still babies.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, yes. Absolutely, yes. That's the idea. And we are still in the area of evolutionary computation developing a lot of technologies that are newborn nowadays. For instance, the idea that genetic programming can be not only learning, but can be meta-learner. So it can be used to learn the machine learning system in itself, the machine learning pipeline. It is recent, but it is under development now. And if you think the idea needs a lot of time to develop, so it is possible to evolve the entire machine learning pipeline from the processing phase to the classifiers by allowing all the different existing algorithms to compete. And this is genetic programming, okay? And the composition of the different algorithms is a solution evolving in the population of genetic programming. And this is a recent idea that will need years before being developed, but I think there is a lot of future there. Semantic awareness in genetic programming also is relatively new. Several different versions of genetic programming aimed at evolving code or fixing code or repairing code are also relatively new. So there is a lot that is under development.
Semantic awareness. What is that?
Semantic awareness? Okay, so basically in the terminology of genetic programming, semantic is the vector of the outputs on the training instances. I don't know if I'm being too technical here, but it's basically the behavior on our data of our model. Okay, and it is possible to define some operators of variation of the programs evolving in the population that have a very precise counterpart on this vector of outputs, on these semantics. In particular, we are interested in having transformation on the syntax of the programs that have a very small impact on the syntax, so that you create songs that are rather similar from the behavioral point of view to the parents, as it is also maybe in nature in many cases, let's say. And this is extremely interesting because it allows, which is not unique but rather rare in the machine learning arena, to define a unimodal error surface. So this semantic aware version of genetic programming is one of the few algorithms in which the error surface is unimodal. There are no local minima.
What do you mean unimodal?
There are no local minima.
There's no local minima.
There are no local minima. The error surface is one cone with only one minimum point, that is the global minimum. And this is a big advantage. Of course, we are talking about the training set. So it is not a solution of all the problems, because optimizing too well, which is maybe controversial and misunderstood, I would say too fast, the training set leads to overfitting, and we know that. So actually, we are solving some problems that are the problem of local optima, probably opening some others. That is how to generalize. But we already have some good results. But we are studying, and we are in a developing phase that is much, much more basilar compared to the things that we are already able to do with, for instance, with neural networks that have much more maturity, scientific maturity.
So neural nets had the transformer moment.
Yes.
Do you think we already had that?
I think so.
For genetic?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
So
we are in that. Yes, absolutely. We are in that phase now. No, I misunderstood in the sense that I was interpreting transformer as the neural network technology. We are absolutely in a deeply transforming phase of which we still don't know what the outcome will be. One of the most interesting things for me is that it seems clear today that genetic programming can be not only seen as a competitor of other machine learning tools, but it can be a meta-learning tool. So it can help the other algorithms to work better. It can evolve the other algorithms, and the other algorithms staying together, finding the right way of them to staying together, including neural networks. So more than a competitor, I see it as a collaborator of other machine learning algorithms.
So I'm not very technical on genetic algorithms specifically, but I really like evolution as a whole, and I read a lot on it, right? And how it works is basically you're optimizing the fitness of the population or the genes, if you're reading Dawkins.
Yes.
And the problem I would see as a non-technical person is in real life, we have infinite possibilities, right?
Absolutely.
Like we had a lot of chemicals and this became a protein after millions of years, and then the protein turned into something else that became a gene and that got passed down. But in the real world, we don't have that much time or that much computation, right? So we need to define a very small set of rules or fitness functions to optimize for.
Yes.
So how do you do that for intelligence?
It is a very, very elementary and basilar model of nature, of course, that simplifies a lot. And in particular, do we have an objective in nature while we are evolving? I don't know. I see maybe as the only objective for many biological populations, survival. For the individuals, it is different. The idea in artificial populations is to evolve at least one solution able to solve the problem, often forgetting the fact that we have an entire population. And in the end, we return as a final solution the best individual in our population, forgetting all the others. So there are a lot of things that we are possibly missing when we are doing artificial evolution today, and that have to grow and that have to change. That's why I'm talking about the prehistory of artificial intelligence. And I completely agree with you. The points you touch are very important. In particular, multi-objective evolutionary algorithms, multi-objective genetic programming is a fact. There are a lot of algorithms that exist, but it is one of the things that need to be developed. It is possible to optimize more than one objective in evolutionary algorithms, something that is maybe not possible in many other existing machine learning algorithms. But for instance, one of these objectives may be clarity or interpretability or expressiveness or beauty or things like this that today we are not able to code, implement, and optimize.
Yeah, right now we have like for the LLMs, we have like very specific models and we don't have like variations of them, right?
Yes.
Do you see a world where we could like use genetic computation on top of LLMs?
Absolutely.
Like you put 1,000 LLMs in a competition to see who is better at coding.
Absolutely. The only limitation that we have nowadays is time, is running time, because the idea already exists. Neuroevolution also is an area that exists, rather popular. There are a lot of tools, one of which is called NEAT, N-E-A-T, public available, that evolve neural networks. Of course, how deep and how big those neural networks can be, considering that you have some hundreds in the population evolving together, is the big limitation that we have. But from this point of view, let me also say something that goes back to history and reminds us that I'm quite old now, unfortunately. But when I was beginning my teaching activity and my research activity, the algorithmic technology that nowadays generative AI is using was already there completely. And the reason why my students in their project in the beginning of the century could not already implement an LLM was only because we could never imagine to have so many data and to have that computational power. But the algorithm was exactly the same that they are using today. Okay, so there are a lot of
the same, right?
Extremely similar. Extremely similar. The technology was practically already there. There are a lot of, for the first time now, in deep learning and in generative AI, but that's not the algorithm. The amount of data that they are using and the computational power that they are using was absolutely not imaginable in the beginning of the century. This is the first time. And then there is another, this is the first time, that is a consequence of this. That is the fact that overfitting is not becoming such a big problem. What is overfitting? You are fitting too much the training data, and you are not able to generalize to the other data that are outside your training set. The idea with LLM is there is no outside. Everything is used to train. Everything we know is part of the training set. So what's the point of not overfitting? Let's overfit because there is nothing to generalize. There is nothing outside.
So
And this is a completely
LLM
new
cannot
idea.
Generalize.
I am rather convinced about this.
It
At least it is not its main objective today. Its main objective today is memorize as many things as possible. That's what I feel. And a limitation that it has today, I don't know if it is the same thing as generalize, is logical inference. On logical inference, LLMs nowadays are still relatively weak. Do you know the game about the car? I don't know if you ever heard that.
No, tell me.
So try, of course, the algorithm is probabilistic. So the chat GPT, for instance, or another LLM does not always answer the same thing. But it is highly probable that if you give this prompt to an LLM, you will have this answer. So the prompt will be, I need to wash my car. The car washes 200 meters from here, but there is a lot of traffic. Should I go there on foot or by car? And very probably the answer will be you should go on foot, because 95% of the cases around the web that has used to learn, in cases where there was traffic and the distance was small, you go on foot. The solution is to go on foot. It doesn't have the logical inference power of thinking, I am going to wash my car, so I need a car. This is the part on which LLM are still weak.
I saw that, and even like Opus 4.7 still get that wrong.
Absolutely.
This goes back to something that Ivo said. So he defined intelligence as the capability to adapt and the capability to know what you don't know.
Very nice definition. Yeah.
And LLMs cannot really tell you what they don't know. They're always super confident, like they're totally confident.
Absolutely. So if something was seen during its training that was huge, they are very confident with it. But if something was not seen and was outside this huge training set, LLM.
And do you think there's an architectural problem? Do you think the researchers are doing something wrong?
No. I really think that the objective was, given that we have all this data, that we have access to all this data, and we have these incredibly powerful computational resources, let's act a little bit like a brute force approach. And let's try to memorize as many things as possible, and let's see what comes out. I think this was the objective. I think they didn't want to do more than this. Is it possible to do more than this? That's a nice question. I don't know.
So did you see like the immersion capabilities with reinforcement learning? You don't think that is outside the training data. You think that's still inside.
Yeah. That's my impression. Yeah.
So you think we're gonna hit like a hard cap when we get all the data?
Yes. That's my opinion, unless we change the algorithms that are underneath. That I think we are going to that direction. Also because the energy we are using to train LLMs is unacceptable.
Extremely high.
Yeah,
it's extremely high.
We will arrive at a point in which we cannot sustain that anymore.
Do you have an intuition where to change the algorithm to escape this problem with?
Not really, but I really think that interpretable models that are by nature also smaller should be used. And there are many, okay? The basic things are linear models, but maybe or surely the relationships between data will not be linear. Decision trees are probably the most readable and interpretable method, but there is a space for evolution, in my opinion. So genetic programming, in particular the latest development of semantic-aware genetic programming, are able to evolve directly interpretable models. It could be the new motor of the new artificial intelligence.
So LLMs are not intelligent. Yeah.
Hey, that's an excellent question, because it goes back to the definition of intelligence that is not clear. But I don't think that they have the ability of doing extremely sophisticated logical inferences. And that's an important part of being intelligent. Maybe it's not the only one. It doesn't have that characteristic of intelligence.
So do you know David Deutsch, the physicist?
The name, but I don't.
So he writes a lot about epistemology,
Right.
and he writes that the process of knowledge creation
Mm-hmm.
is basically you try a bunch of different things. You
Okay.
fail at 9 of them, and one of them works and get passed on.
Okay.
So it's a bit like evolution, a bit like
Absolutely.
conjecture and all of
Absolutely.
that. And his argument is that LLMs are only doing known patterns, so
Mhm.
they cannot do this.
Yes.
And do you think generic programming could solve this problem and bring us to true intelligence?
I think so. I think so. I believe that it is a possibility. I cannot say these things for sure because, as I said, we have in front years of research to get there. But I think it is very possible. I think it's one of the possibilities we have in front, and I think that at a certain point we will not have the choice. We will need better algorithms, and so something must be tried, and it could be genetic programming.
Okay. Have you been using LLMs a lot in your day-to-day?
Not a lot, but I use it. I use it almost every day. One thing in which I think it is extremely useful is in improving text, improving the quality of text. So I write a lot of text, formal documents for my university, research articles, and whenever I have a sentence that doesn't sound very well, in particular because I'm not native English speaking, I always ask ChatGPT to improve it, and the results are normally extremely good. I would like, by the way, to underline the difference between thinking a sentence and thinking with our head a sentence and asking LLM to improve it compared to asking LLM to create the sentence. Is very different.
So you recommend people to first create a sentence
Yes.
and then put it through.
Yes,
Why?
yes. I think the idea should be from our head, for ethical reasons, for the dangers that LLM can have in mistakes, in hallucinations, and also because I think it seems more human, and so it is more appealing if it starts from a human mind.
Yeah, you can tell when it's
Yeah.
LLM.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have to say that honestly, it doesn't look so good. Maybe in the beginning, but now we are used to, right?
Yeah.
Before
Indebted.
nobody, I have never used the term the verb to leverage until a few years ago, and now leverage is one of the most known and used words. Yeah, it doesn't sound so good.
So there's two big fears right now about LLMs. First, it's going to kill us all. It's going to replace us.
Yeah.
You don't think that's true, right?
I don't think it's true. It is going to change us for sure, but not to replace us. Yeah.
The second fear is going to take our jobs.
Yeah, and it is more or less the same, and I have more or less the same conclusion. Our jobs are going to change, but they are not going to be completely replaced. We are still going to work. Okay, let's be practical. Let's think about a company that produces software, an informatic company. It is true that LLM is extremely good in producing code nowadays. Okay, but in practice, what is going to happen in that company? Is it that the manager by himself, without any engineer, informatic engineer, is going to ask the LLM to produce code and then is going to invest their own money on something that they don't really understand, that have never been tested because they don't know how to test it? I don't think so. So at least one person for doing this will be needed and will have to have the profile of an informatic engineer. So the informatic engineer will not die. Okay, instead of producing maybe software by himself, they will produce it together with an LLM. They will be more testers. They will be more people who will need to understand in a critical sense what the LLM has done, but they will remain. They will stay in work. One thing that I can understand, and is probably true, is that in a company in which before they needed 5 informatic engineers, probably now they will need 2 or 1. That is true. And what I always say to my students is that given that selection will be stronger, you have to be better. So you have to study more, not to study less.
So they have to be better at managing AI agents.
I think so. That's for sure the trend we are going to. But this is in many ways corresponding, if you think, to the idea that you would have been able by yourself to do the job. Otherwise, you are not able to critically analyze it and to see if it is correct. You would have been slower, and that's why you leave the LLM to do it. But you must know how to do it. Otherwise, you are not doing very well your job, and it's dangerous, because LLM, we know, can make mistakes. And then you invest your money on those mistakes. So, attention.
So make the idea,
Mhm.
use LLM to implement the idea,
Exactly.
and then criticize it based on your previous knowledge.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's our future job. Yeah. Yeah. That's how it will work. This will protect us from all the little bugs that we were always doing, changing a plus with a minus. That will disappear. Okay, and it's very good. But other problems will come out, and we have to be ready for that. I think it is true, as many people say, that we will have to change the formation we give to people. We will have to form people in a different way, but we don't have to stop to teach them how to program. That's very, no, we don't have to stop to teach them how to program. Because in order to interact positively and critically with the LLM, they have to know the job. They have to know what has been done. So this is a competency that will not die.
So
knowing how
is
to
a
program.
lot about logical thinking, right? So
Yeah.
it's about this learning this
Yes.
logics.
The logic of programming will become even more important than before, but let me say it was already important. If in university classes this was put in a second position compared to the technicalities, it was a problem also before. It was less serious because it was less visible. It will become more visible now, but it's a good thing. Logical thinking should be fundamental always in teaching.
So if you're a student now,
Yeah.
what would you do? Like if you went back to Italy, you're doing your PhD now, you're doing a master's now.
Something not so different from what I did, honestly. Something not so different. And probably I would do it with even more enthusiasm, knowing that for sure I will be popular on the market. They will need me. They will need competencies like mine. So do it, guys. Do it. Study. Study computation.
If you think about it, you're kind of like a visionary because you saw AI like before everyone else.
Yes.
Do you see any technology right now that no one is looking at that you think is gonna be like revolutionary?
Everything that is collective intelligence. So not only evolution, not only evolutionary algorithms, but also swarm intelligence, ant intelligence, these kind of things that use the idea that pools of agents working together are more intelligent than one agent, in my opinion, is a significant and important part of the future. We will not train our one and only big neural network.
But isn't it just throwing more computation to the same problem?
It is more computation. It is more computation. The only thing I don't agree in your sentence is the word only, in the sense that if it is done well, it should be well spent and done to obtain a model that is much more efficient. And in line in the systems, you put the model, not the training algorithm. Okay, so maybe the training algorithm will have the same complexity as now, maybe even a little bit more, but for having models that will be much more efficient and less costly.
So like smaller models, especially like NVIDIA.
Exactly. Yes.
See, and then we could apply this generic computation to these algorithms because they're cheaper.
Yes.
See. So do you think the biggest mistake that these big labs are doing is throwing too much compute into one big model?
Nice point. Yes. I don't know if it's a mistake, but it was deliberate. It was, in my opinion, what they really wanted to do. So they really wanted to catch all the knowledge into one huge model. That was the objective, okay? They have shown that it is possible. It is a big success, but now we know that this approach has limitations and we have to overcome those limitations. And if we insist in this direction, in my opinion, we will arrive at the point of saturation, at the point in which it is not possible to become more intelligent than this.
So you think there is a clear wall?
I think so. I think there is. I think there is, and it is really represented by logic, by the ability of using logic.
Are we close to it as well?
We are rather close.
Okay.
We are rather close, yes.
It's not good for everyone doing AI right now.
You have to change the way of doing AI. No, the future is still doing AI, maybe a different AI.
How do you see your day-to-day research work change with AI?
In a lot of ways. First point, much more visible, much more competitiveness. So in my area, there were 20% of the researchers that we have now, something like 20 years ago. So they are growing a lot. There were many countries that were absolutely underrepresented in our conferences, in our communities, and now they are like a giant, and this is the most visible change, which brings to a lot more contributions, a lot more work, and also a lot more of work that is not useful. And so when you want to do the thing that is basilar in research, that is to find the missing brick in the wall of knowledge, finding the point in which you can contribute, you have to select a lot among the existing things more than before. You find a lot of useless things, you read a lot of material that was not useful until you find the really useful information you were looking for.
So right now, like you're saying, you have like this crazy, like the word you said, leverage multiplier for everyone, right?
Yeah.
So like smaller researchers. So smaller researchers can have more leverage to their work.
Yeah.
But what happens if these AI labs start monopolizing these models? Monopolizing. So they start like honing these models just for them. Because right now they're giving like
Absolutely.
Anthropic is giving a cloud just for free, basically.
Exactly.
They're spending a lot of money.
Exactly.
So what if we get to a place where they are holding these models for themselves and they don't let
Absolutely.
the rest of the
Absolutely. And do you have any doubt that this is going to happen? Of course it's going to happen. Of course it's going to happen. And my question, I answer to you with another question, that is, what if we forgot how to use our brain at that point?
Yeah, I get that.
Absolutely.
Because we're using so much LLM, we cannot think, right?
Yeah. For me, it's something that it may seem uncorrelated, but one very pedagogical moment was apagão that we had in Portugal, Spain, and France, and part of France a few months ago, right? It was not such a long time ago. So it was a couple of days in which we were completely without energy, and we were lost, right? We were completely lost. And this teaches us that if there is someone out there that has the interrupter, that someone commands us with a joystick. It's very, very dangerous, the point in which our society is going from this point of view. And interestingly enough, my only connection with the exterior world was an old transistor radio of the mother of my wife that is 80 years old and still has transistor radio with alkaline batteries. And that was that at least allowed us to hear the paper, the newspaper, the news, and to know that it was not World War III and it would have passed in few time, because otherwise we would not know what was going on. Okay.
So you gave me two views. You gave this view which is very like apocalyptic, like, right? Now they control us, they can destroy everything, and they also gave me the view that is going to help us.
Yes.
Focus on the creative part.
Yes.
So
this is still a phase in which we have the remote in our hands and we can still control in which one of these two directions we will go. And it will not be forever. There will be a time in which we may lose control, because control may go to an elite of human beings, or even to the AI itself, if we don't control what is going on. So we should develop also a critical thinking in the societal terms, not only in the technical terms.
But if we should be careful, or we just should like go?
No, we should be very careful. We should be very careful, in my opinion. Very careful. We are running a big danger, and they are doing wars with AI in these days, and war has completely changed compared to some years ago. And
but what's going to happen? Because like Europe is being super careful, right? But like we're still very much behind.
Yes.
So
Yes. Yes. So there is an attempt with the European community of legislation, of regulation, of AI, but Europe is going much, much slower than other countries. When I was considering before countries that were underrepresented until a few years ago, I was meaning exactly this, and I was thinking specifically to countries like China that in this moment have a lot of researchers and a lot of contributions and a lot of publications. It is a new event. It is a new event. It was not like this a few years ago.
how can we get to that point? Is there something we can do, or we just don't?
I think I don't know if the fact that Europe is lower in the progress than other countries is really because of the regulations. I don't know if that's something that is uncorrelated or if there is a relationship, but I think that regulation is very important. We should take care of this all the time. There are many countries in which it's not like that. An ethical use of AI is very important. This conversation has to go on.
But like, who defines what's ethical and what's not ethical, right? Like, if they can censor our models, they can control our thinking.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So we cannot really solve that.
If something is illegal, it can be done. Of course, it has always been like that, but at least we can have regulations taking care of that.
But like, that's making our why. So you said it's not regulation. So why you think Europe is so slow in the models? Because we have barely any models. We have Mistral, which is not good.
Yeah. So what is the question? Sorry.
So the question is, you said it's not regulations that are causing us to be slower down than America.
I don't know. I don't know if there is a relationship. I don't know if the fact that we have more regulation is slowing down, or it is simply because there is less progress, there is less investment in Europe compared to.
Do you think we should invest more into this?
In the right way, but yes. In the right way, but yes. Yes.
What is the right way?
The right way is new technologies, new algorithms.
So not just building data centers to put more data and put more models.
Exactly. That's, in my opinion, not the only, at least the only way to go. But of course, we are talking about huge questions that don't have a unique question and that are very, very difficult to answer. But we are in a society in which we have to deal with this.
It's very complicated. Like, it's very interesting that China is releasing all these open source models.
Yes.
That are as good as the closed source models.
Absolutely.
So that makes us think, like, what do they actually have there? Right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. What do they have in exchange? Well, yes, they have our data for sure, but is it enough to justify? I don't know. It is a question that I've been asking to myself a lot. And the other question that I've been asking to myself a lot is, are the current politicians competent enough to deal with this? Do they understand what is going on? Do they understand what they have in their hands?
There's this concept of having politicians that are like engineers or scientists, so they can manage this.
I strongly advise that. I see it extremely positively. Yes. Also, banally speaking, the legislators very often have a very, very limited knowledge of technology and of what they are talking about. And that's a big problem. And you can see it in some regulations also.
So what is this trait that makes scientists and engineers so much different than politicians? If we would put like one skill, is it like critical thinking? Is it like the scientific method?
The comparison between a scientist and an engineer?
No, a scientist and a politician.
Okay. Wow, what a question. No, I think it is more technical knowledge, technical skills, really, and also knowledge of the mathematics that is behind, knowledge of what is happening when the algorithm is running. All these basilar knowledges that are the basic of machine learning.
So we can put the right regulations everywhere.
Yes.
I see. Yes. So you still recommend people to be scientists and to be engineers, even though AI is
Absolutely. I would even say that this is a great time to make science.
A great time?
Yes. I would say yes. Yes.
Do you think AI is going to help in the progress of research and science?
I think so. It is already helping. There are a lot of tools helping to find interesting literature. There are a lot of tools helping develop ideas and suggesting new ideas. I think it is a nice help. That from that point of view, I like the direction that it is taking.
You see the thing that Google developed using genetic programming. So basically, they used their Gemini model and they implemented a genetic algorithm on top of it
Okay.
to do and test hypotheses.
Yes.
And they were able to save 0.7% of their energy per year. So Google is huge, right?
Yes, yeah, of course.
And they really
course.
optimize that.
Yes. So there are many ways in which the current technologies, let's say transformers, deep learning, and evolutionary computation could interact. And one of them is possibly evolutionary computation optimizing the technologies, optimizing the parameters, optimizing the size of the model, speeding up the functioning. So this is one of the possible ways for sure. And it should be done. It should be done for sure.
It's very interesting. That's a field that I really want to look into.
Yeah.
So if you put an LLM and you train with all the data from Einstein, like your day, 2008, no, I don't know exactly what year it was, but let's say you put an LLM 400 years ago.
Okay.
Do you think if it had all the data, but only from there,
Yes.
could it get to the theory of relativity? It's out of the training data, right?
I would be tempted to answer no, with a clear no, because there is a lot of inference, of logic inference, in order to derive that theory. It is not an immediate consequence.
You talk a lot about logical inference.
Yes.
How do you think we can teach that to AI?
How can we teach that to AI? Very nice point. There are ways, there are methods that are aimed at least at doing that. Logic programming is a paradigm of programming that is based on logic, so in which you have a theory of knowledge from which you take some knowledge and you are able to make inference. They are not so developed. We should invest more in that.
Teaching the LLM the physics and the... Did you see word models? Word models.
No.
So basically there is this new type of AI that has $1 billion being invested, which they want to teach how to represent the word.
Okay.
So they are not using transformer-based models, and they're trying to represent the word for the AI to think.
The word means everything.
Everything. So physics simulations, robotic simulations, everything that includes the word.
Okay.
Very interesting. Right?
Very interesting, of course. Ambitious and huge. Yeah.
And the guy that is doing it is like a huge researcher.
Okay.
I forgot his name, but he's like a huge researcher, and he got his startup funded and by a lot.
Wow.
So
very interesting.
Last question here. So you come from a field that is very much based on nature, right?
Yeah.
Like you guys are taking a concept from nature and applying it to AIs.
Yes.
And then you have the other field, which is basically the opposite, where we're just like fitting data and like fitting a curve, which is not really based on nature.
Yeah.
So what do you think here? Do you think nature is the ultimate architect and we should be based on them? Or should we create new things that are not inspired in nature?
Nature is a great example of finding solutions, also very creative. Think about all the ways that animals have found to survive, also in difficult situations, no? Evolving their body, changing their characteristics. These are immense and very interesting and very stimulating sorts of ideas. Not the only one, potentially not the only one, but it is a great source of inspiration. Occasionally, I am not a big fanatic of saying something mimics nature and so it is a good algorithm. I always think that that is the inspiring idea and that is fine, but then you need to prove mathematical properties of the algorithm in order to be able to say that's a good algorithm. Okay, but still, I still see in nature a great source of ideas, a great inspiration of ideas. Once again, possibly not the only one, but a very rich one.
What makes me excited about genetic programming is that nature got intelligence somehow.
Yeah.
So there must be a way, just through evolution, that we can do that, right? If we can find a fitness function for intelligence and we have the...
Yes. So the amazing thing of genetic programming is that it is extremely how could I say, modifiable, in the sense that it can changing some things, changing the operators, changing the fitness. It can be many different things. It can assume several different shapes, and we can have one fitness, we can have more fitnesses, and fitness can be also extremely more complicated than what we are normally using in the majority of the cases. I was mentioning before beauty, I was mentioning interpretability, so why not one day intelligence, whatever it means? Yeah.
How would you define that? Would you define intelligence like task solving?
I've been very interested in Ivo's definition. I think it's very smart. I would have said before hearing that definition, the ability of solving problems, many and difficult problems, many and difficult tasks. So the more you are able to solve tasks, the more intelligent you are. But I understand that it's extremely questionable, and also Ivo's definition is very interesting. So if I'm not wrong, it was the ability to deal with novelty, right? With new situations. And
Exactly.
So, yeah.
So what is stopping us from just putting 1,000 LLMs and giving them like evolves and saying, oh yeah, we just mutate and evolve until we can solve all of that?
For sure, computational resources, but I think they are investing so much in that would be solvable. I think it would be. A little bit is trust in a technology like evolution that for many people is too new, for many people is unknown, which is also something that is absolutely something to take into account. And practically speaking, a big investment by some people, okay? Let's not forget, neural networks already existed. They have exploded when someone invested a lot of money on them.
So the biggest challenge for you right now is getting that investment to get this going.
Absolutely. To get the trust that will allow people to believe enough in this technology to invest a lot of money in them.
And why are the AI labs not looking at it that way?
I don't know exactly, but I think it is a matter of communication, a matter of knowledge, a matter of trust. It is really this.
So if I put like 5 LLMs and I tell them to optimize for Evolve, and I keep mutating, do you think that would work?
I think, I'm sure. No, not I think, I'm sure. Maybe 5 is small amount. Populations are normally more numerous.
Yeah.
But the richness that you have from a population, you will never have only training one network. The training of one network is something that, as powerful as it can be, is still a sort of local search. While if you have a population, you are more global, you explore more. And this is absolutely interesting. It gives you a richness that otherwise you cannot have.
Would you mutate only specific parameters, or would you mutate all of them at random?
I would explore all the space of parameters, all the shapes, the connections and the structures of the network, all the activation functions of the neurons, and possibly many, many other things, okay?
So let's say you have infinite budget.
Yeah.
What is the research that you would do?
I would probably do something like that. I would evolve agents that can be neural networks or others, putting all them into a population. So maybe one of the things I would dream about doing is finding a common, let me say, representation, a common ground of representation for all AI, so that all AI model can be coded into this representation and making all AI algorithms, AI models evolve together. And possibly allowing the system to create new models that we don't know yet, that can still be coded by that representation and then be decoded into something that we don't know yet.
Like you code representation and you let that representation evolve with mutation.
Exactly. And in this evolving system, everything would be optimized, not only some few parameters, but even the shape itself of the algorithm, even what the algorithm is doing, and so on and so forth.
Get something amazing. Like I feel like that could get like intelligence.
I think so.
Yeah, right? Because
I think so.
Do you think it's an algorithm intelligence? Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, you could get that.
Yes. I only hope that such technologies will be used for the good things and not for the bad ones. But
that's a worry we all have.
Yeah.
How do you think? I mean, you probably know how is genetic programming applied in enterprises today?
Today, it's not very much applied in Europe. It is much applied in the USA. In the USA, it is applied for basically regression models, for generating regression models that are interpretable, and for meta-learning, once again, for helping how to have a pipeline that is efficient of several different algorithms, how to choose the different algorithms to join together. This is very much used in companies, particularly in the USA. In the USA, every year there is a workshop that is called Genetic Programming Theory and Practice, in which there are a lot of companies that participate. And this is the main difference between that scientific event and any other in the area that goes around the rest of the world, including Europe. And there you really see people investing in this type of technology. So you see that there is a future. You see that we are not dreaming, that we are not far from a reality.
What kind of companies invest the most into genetic program? Is it pharma? Is it industrials?
Both. It is true that pharmaceutical companies are investing a lot, and medical entities, generally speaking, are investing a lot in this.
Right?
Yeah. It is occasionally the areas in which interpretability is more important, right? And it is not. It is not
LLM
by chance.
exploded once you had the transformer. Second, when they found like what problems to solve.
Mhm.
I feel like once genetic programming find that specific problem to solve and to make money and to optimize, it's
Mhm.
gonna explode.
Yeah.
And that's what we're waiting. And then you get the computation, and then you can do your experiment,
Absolutely.
and then you can find intelligence.
Absolutely.
So thank you.
Thank you.
for
Thank
coming
you to
here.
you. Thank you to you. It has been a pleasure.
So where can people find you?
Oh, I am a professor at the NOVA Information Management School at the NOVA University of Lisbon. My school is located in Campus de Campolide in Lisbon. I'm always there teaching, doing research.
Nice.
So if you can find me, come by.
Nice. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.